Welcome to the channel. If you're here to learn about ABI and Digimonstory's cybersleuth, then you came to the right channel, where most of the details going to be. Welcome to the channel, YouTube. Winks here. Thanks for stopping by. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button so you never miss out on anything that I upload. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about ABI and Digimonstory cybersleuth. We're going to be going over a couple questions, answering and some of these questions that you may have about ABI, such as what is ABI, where do you find it, who does it apply to, how does it work, and why is it important? So the first question, what is ABI? ABI, aka ability points, is a special stat that affects two things in this game. One, it is the total number of bonus points you can add to a Digimon's core stats, and two, it determines whether or not you'll be able to digivolve into certain Digimon. The second question that you might have is, where do you find ABI? Well, that one's pretty simple. So in order to find ABI, you just go to your menu, go to Digimon, and then go to your stats. You will see ABI is right there next to Cam, towards the middle of the screen. Alright, so the next question is, who does it apply to? Well, the answer to that is all Digimon. However, it doesn't become noticed really in the game until you start hitting some of those mega level Digimon. A lot of the Digivolutions that you're going to be digivolving to require ABI. Some require 20, 40, 80, such as Magna Angemon here. And you can see that if you go into the menu and you start to digivolve. You can see here that Valkyremon requires 20, Goldramon requires 40. But there is even one Digimon in particular that requires as high as 120, and that is Apocalypse. So how does it work? That's probably the main reason that you're here for this video in the first place, and that's where most of the details going to be. So there are three different ways that you can get ABI in Digimon cybersleuth. One is scanning your Digimon. If you wait until you reach 200% before you digiconvert, you can digiconvert them, and they will start out with a small amount of 5 ABI, which I have here on Arrow Vidramon. That is one way. The other, and for the Switch version, the max ABI is 200%. I don't know if it's different for different devices, but I read somewhere that it is. So depending on what you're playing this game on will determine your max ABI, and you'll want to look into that. But for the Switch, it's 200%. The other two ways of getting ABI are from de-digivolving and digivolving and Miracle Meat. Out of those two options, the most practical way to increase your ABI is digivolving and de-digivolving. Miracle Meat is not available early on like digivolving and de-digivolving, and it seems like a simpler way to, digivolving seems like a more practical way of doing it. If you watched my previous video on types and attributes, I had posted and shared with you the Digivolution path link in there, and if you're doing that process, working on your build, you're going to be gaining this ABI as you're doing that anyway. Miracle Meat costs 1,000,000 yen, and again, it's not available until post game, so it's not very practical to use that. I have put together a spreadsheet that I'm going to share with you here, and I'm going to pull that up. I found it from a Reddit user. And basically all this spreadsheet does is I took his formula that he had on there and I plugged it into this Excel spreadsheet, and the formula basically shows you, depending on the level and the type of Digimon they are, like a rookie or a champion, that you digivolve them or de-digivolve them from will determine the amount of ABI that they get. From what I can tell from looking at the numbers, You basically get 1 point for every 10 levels that you gain before you digivolve or de-digivolve. I'm going to post the link to the Reddit forum where I found this formula originally, so you can check that out for yourself. But another note that I would like to make about looking at this table that is mentioned in the document, some of these decimals that you see on there, the way that it works is if you're on like level 86, for example, and you come up with 22.2, it rounds down to 22. So if you're at level 86, you're only going to get the 22 points worth of ABI when you de-digivolve. Also, again, I would like to point out that, as you can tell from the amount of points that you get from this chart and this formula, Miracle Meat is not the most practical because you only get about 20 ABI when you spend that million yen. So you get more from de-digivolving and digivolving, and it happens more often instead of farming for yen. The final thing that I'm going to explain with how it works, as I mentioned previously, ABI affects the bonus points that you can add to a Digimon's core stats. The bonus points can be accumulated training them in the Digifarm and by purchasing and feeding them the fruits that can be purchased post-game. And the way that you can check those and calculate your remaining bonus points is by the numbers in parentheses next to the core stats. And I have Chaosmon pulled up as an example to show you. So Chaosmon has a total ABI of 200, which I previously stated he's at max with the amount of ABI points that he can accumulate. And the way that you check those to see how many you have remaining is by removing the equipment that they have first. And we'll go ahead and do that real quick so I can show you. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these, right? And you saw some of those numbers in the parentheses went down. And in order to calculate how many bonus points he has left, there is a formula, and the formula is ABI divided by 2 plus 50. So 200 divided by 2 is 100, and then you add 50 to that, so that's a total of 150 points. And if you go and you add up the points in the parentheses, 110 plus 10 is 120 plus the 30, that's 150. So he's maxed out on the amount of bonus points that I can place on him. Another example that I have pulled up is Omnimon, as you can see here on the screen, because this is also important to point out. As you can see, his ABI is 79. It's not an even 200 like the last example. And another thing that you'll notice is that in his bonus stats, he has 40 points next to his HP. So if you use that previous formula that I shared with you and you divide 79 by 2 and then add 50, you come up with a decimal, 89.5. And again, like I stated before, you would just round down to the 89. So when it comes to HP, however, all the other stats, with the exception of HP, are calculated 1 for 1. HP, however, is 10 for 1. So if you took that and you divided 40 by 10, you'd come up with 4. He's also got 4 in SP, Intelligence, and Defense. So that totals up to 16. When you add the 41 and the 32 to that, you come up to the 89, and then you see that he has no more bonus points that he can add to his stats. And finally, the last question, why is this important at all? So it's important for when you're preparing your Digimon for tougher battles, such as the PvP battles, the Abyssal server mission, and if you're going to play the game again on New Game Plus on a harder difficulty. It's also important for those certain Digivolutions like I spoke about previously. Alright, so we've come to the end of the video. So in summary, we answered those 5 questions for you. Stick around to watch next week's video, because next week I'm going to start getting into the really useful stuff, such as how to farm your EXP. I'm going to show you a method that'll get you, roughly about 800 to 900,000 EXP, and then following that week I'm going to show you a video on how to farm for yen and get about 1.4 million in yen. Once again, if you haven't, go ahead and like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Winks out.